Hi everyone and welcome to class 7 English. So in my earlier lesson I did talk about what does a language, whether English or Hindi or any other language, would have. So you have poems, you have stories, and you have plays. So today we have a poem for you and it has been written by a French poet. So this is your chapter number 9 and page number 137. So here we go. So this is a garden snake and the poet is Mariel Elson. Now this is a French poet, so I might have gone wrong with the pronunciation. So as you see in the picture, there is a snake, and the moment you see a snake, especially for me, I don't know about you, but the moment I see a snake, there is some kind of a shiver in my body, because every time you hear or every time you talk about a snake or you read about a snake, you will always learn that they are dangerous, they are poisonous. Nobody is going to talk really fondly of snakes. When I was a child, the place where we lived, there was lots and lots of greenery, and I still remember monsoon came and snakes started coming out, and my dad and my brother used to kill them with the hockey stick. Not a very beautiful scene to look at, but that kind of really scared me for life, that the moment you hear about a snake, it has to be dangerous, it has to be poisonous, and the moment it bites you, you will die. There is no cure for poison. That is what I thought. Certainly there is now cure for poison also, but snakes are dangerous animals. So let's find out, why has this poet really written about a dangerous and a poisonous animal? People do write about animals, but mostly if they are really cute, they are sweet, they are domesticated, then you write about them. But nobody writes about a snake. So maybe it's something interesting that we are going to find, or maybe it's the same. So let's find out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first read out the poem for you. 1 minute. So I'm going to first read out and then I go back to the slide. I saw a snake and ran away. Some snakes are dangerous, they say, but mothers say that kind is good and eats up insects for his food. So when he wiggles in the grass, I will stand aside and watch him pass and tell myself there's no mistake. It is just a harmless garden snake. So the poem Garden Snake is a simplistic description of a harmless snake. So now that we have read, it says that it's not going to harm you. So the young child is the narrator and he encounters a snake in the garden, and obviously, as all of us, he runs away from it out of fear. However, his mother informs him that certain kinds of snakes are not dangerous at all. And what do they eat? They only feed on insects. So the young child narrator loses his fear and thereafter begins to watch the snake pass through the garden. So basically, as I said that the snakes are dangerous, here it's just the opposite. So there is one kind of snake which is a garden snake, and the moment the child sees that garden snake, he's scared. But this is what happens when his mother says him a different kind of a version. So I saw a snake and ran away. Some snakes are dangerous, they say, but mother says that kind is good and eats up insects for his food. So when he wiggles in the grass, I'll stand aside and watch him pass and tell myself there's no mistake. It is just a harmless garden snake. So the poet is describing how the child's fear gets replaced. Replace means he starts thinking of something else and he's able to watch the snake with delight, with joy, with happiness. So how can a child be happy watching the snake? Because he's not afraid, because his mother has told him a different kind of a story, and now He thinks that it is okay, I can watch him with happiness and I don't have to be scared. The young child narrator sees a snake and runs away thinking the snake to be dangerous. But it is his mother who says that this kind of a snake only eats insects. So he's not somebody who's going to bite you, he's not somebody who's going to take some other animal to eat, but he only feeds on insects. So that's very important, because if he's not biting and eating other animals, he's not going to harm me as well. Thereafter, the narrator, no longer afraid, used to stand aside and see the snake wiggle in the grass. So, wiggle is something that is how a snake passes. So, if you see a snake, you will always see passing like this. So, that's the wiggle in the grass. Every time the narrator sees the garden snake, he reminds himself that there is nothing wrong, because, as the poet says, it is just a harmless garden snake. So, I do hope that you by now know that all the snakes are not dangerous. Some are dangerous, some are not. And who are the ones who are not dangerous? A kind of garden snake. So now I'm going to start with the following questions that I have for you. So the first one, pick out the line that suggests that the child is afraid of snakes. So now remember, we have to pick out the line from the poem itself. We are not imagining the answers. We have to pick out the line from the poem itself. So if you have your book and you have the page number open, let's see if you can find out which line will tell you that the child is really afraid of snakes. Now remember, in the first few lines, the child was afraid of snakes. So the line is, I saw a snake and ran away. So whenever you see something which is dangerous and something that you don't enjoy, what do? You run away. And that also doesn't even, that also sometimes happen with one of your friend. You don't want to play that day. The moment you see that child coming, you just run away and you don't want to play, and you say, oh, I'm hiding myself so that she doesn't see me and I don't want to play today. So the same happened. This was a different scenario, because here he thought that it's a dangerous snake and he was afraid. So when he was afraid, the line said that I saw a snake and ran away. Question number 2. Which line shows a complete change of the child's attitude towards snakes? So remember, it's the mother dear who says that you don't have to be, but you have to give me the exact line that tells you that his attitude towards snake, which means he's not that scared, he's not that afraid. So which is that line which is telling you? So the line is, I will stand aside and watch him pass and tell myself there's no mistake. So that is the line which tells you that the child is no longer afraid of snakes. Next one, but mother says that kind is good. Now here, what is the mother referring to? The mother is referring to the snake. Find the word that refers to the snake's movements in the grass. So remember, I told you the word wiggle. So this is how a snake will move. And when anybody is moving like this, you say wiggle. Let's go to the next one. There are 4 pairs of rhyming words in the poem. Say them aloud. So I think maybe we can go back to the poem and see. So there are 4 rhyming words. Now what's a rhyming word? Rhyming word is when the last one or the last 2 letters sound the same to you. So those are your rhyming words. So I saw a snake and ran away. Some snakes are dangerous, they say. So what is the rhyming pair here? Away and say. So the last sound is A, away, and the last sound in say is also A. So this is the pair away and say. So this is how we are going to pick up the other three rhyming words. Let's go to the third line. But mother says that kind is good and eats up insects for his food. So yes, good and food is the second pair of rhyming words in this poem. Say, away, good, food. Let's find out the third one. So, when he wiggles in the grass, I will stand aside and watch him pass. So, grass, pass, us, us. So, that is your next pair of rhyming word. So, away, say, good, food, grass, pass. Now, let's go to the last one. And tell myself there's no mistake, it is just a harmless garden snake. So, mistake, snake. So, all four rhyming words from this poem. Let's get back to the next one. What makes the child comfortable the next time he sees the garden snake? So, what is it that makes him comfortable? It is the mother's word that says that he's not going to harm you. Then, the next, what lesson does the young child narrator learn from his mother? So, this is a very, very good lesson that all of us should learn. Sometimes we generalize people that, oh, these kind of people are not really good. Only these kind of people are nice. Otherwise, if we meet them, they are not nice people. But this generalizing habit is really not true. So that is why when I said in the beginning, oh, when I see snake, I feel that, oh, he's going to bite me and they're dangerous, they're poisonous. So what I did was I generalized snake. I said what I thought about all of them together. So that is what generalizing is. So you cannot generalize one particular community and say that all of them are bad. You cannot generalize one particular community and say all of them are right. So that is what I did, and that is what I learned from this poem, that it's not really good to generalize people. And that is what we learned from this poem, that not all snakes are dangerous. There are snake which is a garden snake which is harmless and just feeds on the insects. So that is our learning from this poem. Alright, so reference to context means when you have few lines taken from the poem and the teacher or the educator is going to ask you something based on that line. So that is called your reference to context. So the lines are, I saw a snake and ran away. Some snakes are dangerous, they say. But mother says that kind is good and eats up insects for his food. I'm repeating those 4 lines and then I'm going to ask you questions on them. I saw a snake and ran away. Some snakes are dangerous, they say. But mother says that kind is good and eats up insects for his food. So let's get ready for the reference to context. We also sometimes say RTC. So, is it safe to play with snakes who eat up insects? My apologies. The question number 1 that I'm reading out, play has been spelled wrongly there. P-L-A-Y is the correct spelling. I have typed P-A-L-Y. That's wrong. P-L-A-Y. So my apologies for that. Is it safe to play with snakes who eat up insects? I think very safe, because he's just going to eat up insects and not me. So yes, it is absolutely safe to play with them. Next one. What does the poet refer to as they in the above line? So who's they? They say. So they are the people who know about that garden snake. Next one. Who is I in this poem? So I is the narrator or the poet. So that's your I. It can be the narrator and the narrator is the poet. Now I have a homework for you. So search for different types of snakes and write about 4 lines on each of them. So if you have an encyclopedia on snake, it would be very, very easy for you. If you have internet at home, you can just have your Google search engine. See in there if you can find, if you have a magazine or a newspaper, or if you have any elderly person who knows a lot about snakes. I'm very sure in villages all grandparents would be aware of snakes. So if you can gather that information, I would really appreciate if you write 4 lines on each of the snake that you know. And then if you want, you can simply draw in front of the information that you have provided, or if you have a magazine, and you can cut and paste those pictures. So you'll get an idea about snakes, because here in this poem we only learnt about garden snakes, so you get an idea about how many other snakes are there. I'm still not convinced if this garden snake was not dangerous, but as the poet says, it was. So find out about snakes who are maybe dangerous or maybe less dangerous than the ones that we know about. So bye-bye for now.